This video is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Visit expressvpn.com/pastagrammar to find out how you can get 3 months free. Pasta is just pasta, right? I mean, after all, spaghetti and penne, they both use the same ingredients. The shape is just a silly decoration. I certainly used to believe this, until I learned the truth. By the end of this video, I think you will agree with me, and in order to prove my point, we're gonna introduce you guys to the pasta shape that changed my mind. Nothing about its ingredients are special, it's the shape that makes all the difference.
This is Fileja pasta and it's the traditional pasta from Calabria. Here in the south we call it Maccarruna. You can buy this dried like in this package, and we put the link down below, or you can make your own, and I'm going to show you how to make them. To make our Maccarruna we need semolina flour and water. I'm going to use 400 grams of semolina flour and about 300 ml of water, but the water really depends on the weather, on how dry is your flour, so you maybe need a little bit more or a little bit less. And then to give the shape of our Maccarruna we need this. This is what Harper calls macaroni stick, but in the South dialect is called fusillo. This is a piece of dried grass, typical from here in Calabria, but you can easily substitute it with how do you say in English, Harper?
A very thin dowel.
This one, or a piece of your umbrella if you have a broken umbrella. First you need to make a volcano with your flour, and then we need to add our water, but I warmly suggest you to add the water a little bit of the time, so you can add a little bit more when we need it. Now we are mixing the water with our flour, gentle with a fork, so you don't create a big mess. When you mix the flour with the water, you can start to work with your hands. You need to knead your dough for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What you're looking for is a very smooth pasta dough. As we say in the South, you need a pasta dough that is soft, but not too soft. Now our pasta dough is ready, and what we need to do is cover in a plastic wrap and let it rest for about 30-40 minutes. After the dough is rested for about 40 minutes, what we are going to do is roll it in a small pieces like a very thin snakes. And be sure to keep your dough covered, otherwise it will get too dry. I'm making my snakes large like my pinkies, so I don't know how it can be in English, Harper. How can we describe how large and thick is my pinky?
When I edit the video, I will measure Ava's pinky and put it on the screen as a standard measurement.
And this is fundamental, because if it's not like my pinkies, it doesn't work.
So I'll have to put the length of your pinky as well.
See, because this is the right size. So now what we need to do is roll our piece of dough around our Maccarruna stick, like that. And start to gentle press and roll. Before with one hand, then with two hands. The movement that you need to do is from the center to the side, very, very gentle, because you don't need to press, but you need just to roll. And then we have our Maccarruna, or Fileja, whatever you want to call it, it's very, very beautiful and good. Harper, do you want to try?
I'm not very good at this.
You can do this. I believe in you.
So I wrap it around.
Before with one and then with two. You see? Harper, that is okay.
It's a little gnarly compared to yours, but hey, it'll still taste good, I think.
And now that our pasta is ready, it's time to cook it. Today we are going to make my favorite pasta dish, that is pasta with chickpeas. To cook your chickpeas, you need to soak them for at least 12 hours in cold water. Then, the day after, you wash them and boil them until they are soft, but still, whole, not creamy. More or less, it can take in between 45 minutes to 1 hour. It's very important that you don't drain completely your chickpeas. As you can see here, there is still some water in which I cooked the chickpeas. Guys, never stir, always shake, or as we say in the saccatigliare. Just break the whole peeled tomatoes, so it will be easier for them to create a sauce with our chickpeas. And now we let them cook for about 10 minutes on medium heat. Because this is a fresh pasta, it cooks very quickly, which means about 2 or 3 minutes, no more. I really believe, guys, that this is one of the best pasta shape in the world. And I'm not kidding, it is. And like every pasta, to understand if it's cooked or not, you try it. We drain the pasta and we put it back in the pot, and then we mix with the chickpeas. You can add more or less sauce of the chickpeas as you want it.
And this is your favorite pasta dish of all time?
Since when I was a child, this is my favorite pasta dish.
Well, your favorite pasta dish and my favorite pasta shape.
So we match, perfect. So stir.
Stir.
Let's be honest, it hasn't a really good forkability.
It's not the most convenient pasta shape.
No, but for sure is one of the best. Buon appetito!
Buon appetito! I can see why that's your favorite.
The chickpeas are amazing. There is that hint of spicy pepper, Calabrian spicy pepper, that makes the dish a complete miracle.
What I love about this shape, this is why this shape changed my mind, is that it's very thick, which gives it a completely different texture in your mouth. When you cook it, the outside becomes gooey and soft. It melts in your mouth. But because it's so thick, the inside still has a very firm al dente bite to it. I think the best analogy I can come up with to someone who says, oh, well, pasta is pasta, it's all the same, it doesn't matter the shape, is like, well, beef is beef, but we all know that if you cook a cutlet, as soon as you put it on the pan and it's seared on the outside, it's cooked all the way through, it's completely evenly cooked, whereas if you take a big, fat, thick steak, sear it on both sides, it's still gonna be rare in the middle.
Actually, here in the South, we have a way in which we call this quality of this pasta.
Of course you do. Of course you have a name for that.
So we say that Maccarruna, the pasta, is good when it's caiusa.
Caiusa.
Yes, means that it's soft outside, but still you need to bite because inside is...
Like if you did this dish with spaghetti, it wouldn't be the same. I mean, spaghetti is great, but the spaghetto is either cooked or it's not. It's great with like tomato sauce, for instance, but it's a very delicate pasta. This pasta has a gradient and a structure to it that works really well with a sauce like this, like chickpeas. Important
is that it's a very heavy and thick sauce. So because of the pasta shape, because of the made in which is made, we can do with this pasta something that usually we don't do with pasta.
Ava and I have had so much fun over the last couple of months here in Italy. We love traveling, although we do have one little itty-bitty problem. When we leave the US, we lose all of our movies and TV shows. Recently, I wanted to watch one of my favorite movies of all time, Apocalypse Now. I knew it was supposed to be there, but when I logged in, it was gone. Luckily, I had ExpressVPN. A lot of these streaming services have completely different libraries in different countries. With ExpressVPN, you can change the perceived location of your IP address, making it seem like you're watching in a different country. I fired up ExpressVPN, set my location back home in the US, and soon I was watching Apocalypse Now as planned. The great thing is it also works in reverse, and so when you're back home, you can just change your location, see what else there is to watch. I had a lot of success recently switching my location to the UK. For instance, I was able to watch one of my favorite shows ever, Star Trek, the original series. They removed it from the US Netflix not too long ago, but it's still there in the UK. I've been using ExpressVPN for years now, and I can't imagine using the internet without it.
That's like saying you wish that you still operated with scalpels and sewed your patients up with catgut.
Check out ExpressVPN today. Visit expressvpn.com/pastagrammar to find out how you can get 3 months free. A big thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's show.
As you can see, we cooked a lot of maccaruna with chickpeas, and we did this on purpose. Usually you don't eat leftover pasta because it comes all together like this. It's a mappazzone, it's dry, it's not very good. But because the shape of maccaruna and because of the chickpeas, it's much better also the day after. And how we treat this, now I'm going to show you how. First, a good amount of a good olive oil. It's very important that your oil is very hot, and you need to use a medium-high temperature. And when the oil is hot, we put the pasta just straight in the pan. Now we let it make what we call crosticina. How do you say in English, Harper?
Like crust?
Like crust, because the pasta should be soft but crunchy at the same time.
So you kind of fry it until it's crispy on the outside.
Bravo, Harper. As you can see, the pasta became a little bit crispy outside, and now it's ready again. That's how we cook leftover maccaroni.
And again with the pepperoncino.
Yes, because without pepperoncino is not maccaruna with chickpeas.
Let's try crispy leftover pasta.
Actually, I'm more excited now than before. Buon appetito!
That is already such a good pasta dish, but it is way better left over.
It's very good because, as you can see, outside is crunchy and inside is soft but still delicious, and wow.
And again, it all comes down to the shape, because after being cooked and then let it go cold and then recook it again, but the pasta here is so thick, it still has structure, it's still al dente, it's still soft, even though it's like crispy and fried on the outside.
So, do you prefer fresh or here?
Reheated. The problem is letting the first dish go cold, because that dish is so good that you tend to eat it all. It's hard to have leftovers of this.
You can do like us, where when we cook like half kilos of maccaruna, so we will always have some
Just make
leftovers.
extra. Funny story, actually, in a previous video, which you can watch up here, I mentioned that this was my favorite pasta shape of all time, but that I couldn't find it in the US. You guys were amazing and sent us kilos and kilos and kilos. Boy, I'm becoming Italian. I'm using kilos instead of pounds.
Finally.
Pounds and pounds and pounds of this pasta. We now have like a life supply. I found out my mistake. I was searching for it using the Calabrian dialect name Maccarruna, but if you search for the Italian name Fileja, you will find it, and we'll put a link down below. Although it's better if you make it yourself, so try that. By the way, you guys might be wondering where we are. We are at La Locanda. This was a completely abandoned restaurant here in Eva's hometown of Dessà, and it's really amazing. The whole town came together to fix it up, to restore it, to get it ready, and it's the location that we use for our week in Dessà. We had guests come, and they spent an entire week with us. We cooked together here.
We eat together.
We make pasta like this, we make kuriki, fried potato donuts, all kinds of amazing stuff. And we've just announced new dates. If you'd like to join us in the spring of 2023, then go to pastagrammar.com/tour. We would love to see you there. Before we go, a quick shout out to a pasta grammarian in action who made a beautiful looking pastiera. Seriously, that thing looks straight out of Naples. Well done. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Ciao.